Hello, hello. Welcome to Fempreneur True Confessions podcast.
Welcome, everyone. So glad to have you here today. We are so excited. And it's a cold day for us. So we are all bundled up over here and excited to be here. I'm Laura. I am owner of ODAA. And we help small business owners with tasks behind the scenes. So we're here to help you out with your business as you grow. Welcome.
Yeah. And
Angelique.
I'm Angelique with the Lady Powerhouse Solutions. And we take a heart centered approach to offering project and event management to women entrepreneurs who are on fire and out there lighting up the world with their passion and their drive. And we help them achieve their mission in the most authentic way possible. Laura and I do similar things. But instead of competing, we've decided to collaborate. And it's been fantastic couple of years, not
Yeah.
just doing the podcast, but before that, we were working on stuff together as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's been a blast, and it's been a good growth experience. We both learned things, not just about each other, but about business from each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the point of the collaboration, is that it allows you to support each other inside of this really nice container.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the point of the podcast, is just to model what it looks like when women support each other. And
Mm.
our guests are here to share their story about that, as well as just their journey. This podcast is about being loud and proud about the fact that female entrepreneurship can be hard.
Yeah.
And that's because Laura and I, when we started out, I started back in 2019. Laura, you said it was 2021 for you, right?
Yeah.
Um, we weren't seeing a lot of women on social media or otherwise talking about how hard it can be. It was all about the successes. And we get that. Everybody wants to celebrate successes. But we had no model
Right.
for, like, we felt very alone and isolated, because nobody was talking about the fact that entrepreneurship can be hard, and that and this is how other women are handling that part of the challenge of being an entrepreneur. So that's
Exactly.
another reason the podcast is here. And we've had some wonderful guests, and today is no exception. We have a wonderful guest with us today. Laura, do you want to introduce her?
Absolutely. So Christine is the founder of Urban RX Health Lounge. Sorry. PLLC. She is a registered nurse with a master's degree in nursing leadership and administration. She has experience in primary care, acute care, labor and delivery, and Overall women's services. She has always been drawn to health, wellness, and beauty, and was certain about her passion of taking care of others by going into nursing. Um, Sorry, guys. Christine is a health and fitness enthusiast, taking pride in her own strides of reaching optimal health, wellness in her personal life. It made perfect sense for her to incorporate both of these together, advocating for self care and wellness. Welcome. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you for
Apparently,
having
I can't talk today. I'm like, ooh.
So, Christine, where in the world are you?
I'm in Houston, Texas.
Okay. I remember seeing that now. Yeah, now that you say that.
Uh,
I worked in healthcare administration for a couple decades in St. Louis,
oh,
um, and also worked a lot with maternal and fetal care. And so I feel you. And to be honest with you, I loved working in healthcare.
yeah.
I did. I loved it. I did it for a long time. Um,
Mhm.
and I mean, it was supposed to be that I moved away from it, but I love it. It was some of the happiest memories I have of working in a corporate environment.
Oh,
That's good.
yeah, that's good.
So, your journey started when with your business?
My journey started when I was actually working for another IV hydration company. I realized that this was my passion. I've always had a passion for starting IVs. And I was like, man, if I can have a business just doing that, that would be great. So instead of working for someone else, I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be my own entrepreneur, have something that I can call my own. So back in July, I branched out. I acquired my LLC and I just hit the ground running.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. It takes bravery and quite a bit of grit to start your own business, no matter what gender you are. I think it is easier for men, but um, that's never stopped a woman from doing something for sure,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
You talked. We talked before about the challenges, right? Of being an entrepreneur, but of also being a female entrepreneur. And you're a woman of color. So you've
Yeah.
also got that little bag of tricks, right, to deal with.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so tell us a little bit about what you feel like is the most challenging thing that you've had to go through in entrepreneurship.
The most challenging thing is when I first started, I looked at other entrepreneurs and I saw the glitz and the glamour. I was like, man, this cannot be so hard. I can do it. And no one actually was very transparent about the journey that it is to get to that level. And with that, I had to deal with separation. And I had to tell myself separation comes elevation. You need to isolate, you need to come up with a plan and execute that plan. But along with that, everyone is not going to be happy about your journey. They're not going to want to stay there. They might want to be there at the end when you do succeed, but not when you're going through the trials and the tribulations. And that's a challenging thing I had to deal with. And I just was not, I wasn't prepared for it. I really wasn't. That was tough. That was an emotional ride. I really had to count on myself and be my own cheerleader when no one else was cheering me on.
Yeah. So talk about, how did you get through that?
Um, I know who I am. I think the goal is knowing who you are and knowing what you're capable of and knowing that you're worthy of succeeding beyond anybody's expectations. If you put your mind towards something, you can do it and you can succeed. So I always gave myself a pep talk and told myself, no one is going to save you but yourself. So you have to do this. You have to succeed. You have to go beyond when anyone else, the naysayers, you have to proceed and you have to just keep going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, have you heard of Lisa Nichols?
I have not.
Oh,
Highly recommend. Her
yes.
story is so incredibly inspirational. And I
Mhm.
actually was on social media this morning and saw a little bit of an interview with is it Olivia Davis that was the warrior queen? The warrior?
Oh, that movie. Oh, was it?
Is it
Yeah.
I think it's Olivia Davis. I think she was the main character uh in now, see, I'm just completely blanking on it.
Right?
I want to say it's Olivia Davis, but she has a similar story
Mm-hmm.
to Lisa Nichols of just a really trauma-filled childhood,
Mm-hmm.
um, very poor, lots of neglect there. Um,
Yeah.
I want to see.
It's just gonna
I'm
wrap it.
Googling. I'm Googling Viola Davis. That's it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Viola Davis. And her story too, it was a compilation of pieces of interviews that she's done over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And to see how successful she is now and yet still so humble. And that is why, and one of the things that she said that really impacted me was that she was this little kid and she was a witness to some awful abuse. She ran and she hid and she in the bathroom, I think, and she prayed to God to just take her away right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And now she is able to say, that's okay, because I still remember what it felt like to be a child in the middle of abuse. Know what it felt like to be a child digging in a dumpster looking for food. I remember what it felt like to be hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She still has that memory, and it's kept her very humble and meek and teachable and giving and all those wonderful things.
Yeah. She's amazing.
And sometimes, it doesn't make sense when we're going through that really rough spot,
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
but it really made me understand, because I'm going through a bit of a rough spot myself.
Yeah.
Just kind of, I felt like it was a setback, but it's all part of the divine plan. And I do know that. But our ego and our self wants things now.
Right.
Um, but being able to reflect on what we've been through and remember that
Mm-hmm.
is invaluable. Nobody can give you that. You can't buy it.
Right.
This is something you have to earn. And I think that's one of the most important things that when we're in the middle of it, especially
Yeah.
that hard part that we're going through, whether it's in our personal life or business, it doesn't matter. It's still a hard thing we had to do. That it is building, it's kind of cliche, but it's building character. It's making us who we are, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Who's inspired you?
My father has inspired me. So I grew up in a lower economic status. Both of my parents, they worked in grocery stores, they were caregivers, and they were working multiple jobs to make ends meet. And my father, especially, he never lost his joy. He never lost his hope. I had seen him work endlessly and tirelessly. He'll go to work, he'll come back home, he'll sleep for a couple hours, and he'll go back to work just because he had to provide for his family. And that taught me resilience. He has never, never lost hope. He always said, God got us, and we're going to get through this. And every time we did, every time we had food on the table, clothes on our backs, and shelter. And that just made me believe that it's going to be okay. You're going to go through tough times, but you're going to make it out. But always keep the faith. Always have hope. And always know that you're going to get through it.
Awesome. That's
I
fantastic.
love that.
It
Yeah.
is important to have role models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, like you said, you weren't seeing that out there, that transparency and the ability to be like, okay, there is yes, the shine is out there, but there is a story behind the scenes
Mm-hmm.
um that is so impactful, so incredible. And I think a lot of us think, oh, well, somebody else has had it worse, or somebody else's story will have a bigger impact, right? And we kind of wait and hold back on things like that and stuff, not realizing that each and every one of our story is meant to impact somebody else in some form or fashion. So it's not holding back even the vulnerable times behind the scenes of what really was going on in everyone's world. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's why it's even more so important now for women to be able to model what's truly what they've really been through, how it's really been.
Hmm.
That it isn't always rainbows and unicorns, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, Usually I save this for last, but I feel like it's a good question now. If there were something that you could tell your younger self, or yourself back when you first started, that you wish you would have known, right? Hindsight's always 2020.
Mm.
What would be that one piece of advice you would give your former self, or somebody who's just starting out?
Um, the advice I would give is that you have purpose. That no matter what, you just have to see yourself through. Know that you're here for a reason, and that where you were yesterday, you're not here today. far greater than where you were back a couple of years ago. So always keep that in the back of your head and know that um, the sun is going to shine again and that you're always going to be in a better position. But you just have to keep going.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
one thing that got me through some of my darkest times is I saw a woman had 2 tattoos.
Mm,
One on one wrist and it said this too, and the other one said shall pass.
mhm.
Because this is all very temporary. Emotions are temporary.
Yeah.
You can make more money. But one thing you can't regenerate is time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time. I feel like time's just such one of the most valuable assets we have. I think we're finally, as a society, finally getting
Mhm.
that even though maybe it costs $20,000 for a coaching program, that $20,000 just got you 4 or 5 years ahead.
Yeah.
Because by working with a coach, you gain all of their experience and
Mhm.
knowledge
Yeah.
that they are sharing with you.
Mm-hmm.
All that trial and error. And that's one thing
Right.
we talked a little bit about too earlier was mistakes just being feedback.
Mhm.
What was it
Yeah.
you had said in the intake form that was about that?
Um, believe I said that with mistakes, you can't possibly learn and improve if you don't go through mistakes. Um, what you want is not going to come easy. And with that, you have to learn from your mistakes. You have to go over it and see, okay, where can I improve? So that way I don't make the same mistake next time. And it's going to help me improve with my business or even just yourself. So mistakes are necessary and learn to embrace the mistakes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are necessary
Mm.
for growth. If you
Yes.
don't want to grow, then no, they're not necessarily necessary.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
And that we
and
hope that's not ever the plan.
right, right. Uh, one of the other things you talked about was funding the business
Mm,
and working 3 jobs. Girl, been there.
right.
I worked 2 jobs and went to school just so I could get by,
Yeah.
pay the rent, you
Right.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Um so talk a little bit about that. So you were working 3 different jobs at one time?
Yes, I currently still am working 3 jobs to fund.
Oh Lord.
Yes. So I'm not at a peak point in my career and my business to where I can just work one full time or just even do this, um, being an entrepreneur full time. So I do have to work just to fund this business. And this isn't new to me. I had to work when I was 15. And I worked one job and always worked, had several jobs because I always had to provide for myself. I have no one here. Don't have a husband. So I really have to count on myself to do a lot of the things and just provide for myself.
Yeah.
So what kind of jobs? I always think this is interesting because when I was, gosh, I have done so much singing telegrams. I worked in a restaurant. I bussed tables. I worked the cash register. I was never a cook, which I mean, I don't know why. I just never did. Probably because my mom never really taught me to cook. Like it wasn't a formal thing. It was just like, here, help me with dinner kind of thing.
Yeah.
What else? Um, Orange Julius. I remember working at Orange Julius in the mall. I worked at fast food restaurants. I did telemarketing. Oh,
Oh,
I really didn't like that.
no. Yeah.
Um, Starbucks. I've worked at Starbucks. In addition to working full time at a
Right.
hospital,
Yeah.
8 hours a day, then I would get on the bus, ride it to the train, get off the train at Union Station, work at Starbucks, ride the train back, take another bus, and if I missed the last bus, I ended up walking.
Oh no. Yeah. And
Yeah.
many years.
So, what kind of jobs, well, you could start with, like, what you're doing now, or you can start with what you've done in the past.
Um, in the past, I did a lot of working at restaurants. I worked for Panera, Subway, and I just did not feel fulfilled. I had went to nursing school and even worked during nursing school when they didn't recommend it, but I didn't have a choice. So now I just work at different facilities. I work night shifts, so once I get off one shift, I'll go to another shift, and it's very tiring. But I know that this is something that I really have to do, and I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It must be pretty fulfilling though. Not just I think it takes a special kind of person for nursing. Um, I think the there's a calling.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
One of my best friends is a nurse. She probably, I don't know. She keeps saying she's going to retire, but then and next thing I know, I see her, doing something at the hospital, at the health system, um, just PRN or whatever. But still, that means you're not retired, honey.
Right.
Um, but I mean, she was a new nurse supervisor for the ER, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it just takes a special kind of person. Um, Also, there talk about a special kind of person, behavioral health nurses.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think the funnest nursing is the neonatal and the natal and the labor and delivery and seeing the babies, and although dealing with the moms can be challenging,
Mhm.
but it's also really rewarding,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Um,
I was in behavioral health. That stuff is,
oh,
it'll burn you out. Like I did 13 years. I was like, okay, I'm out.
yeah,
You get to a point. Okay, no, I can't. Don't
yeah,
want to. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
And that's what I mean. Like when you, and I just heard this morning, um, during these little mini coaching sessions that I have. She said, if you're feeling unworthy, then you are working outside of your calling.
Mm-hmm.
And it hit me in the gut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Let me hear this again. So I'm going to repeat it for people in the back. If you are feeling unworthy,
Mhm.
you are trying to work outside of your calling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that because what you're doing is a lot, Christine, working 3 jobs, running a business.
Yeah.
But it's because what you're doing, you feel like you're super passionate about it.
Yes.
That's your calling. And
Yes.
that's what's fueling you. Would you agree?
I agree completely.
Yeah.
No. Oh, yeah.
Well, I think do you have anything else? I would love to hear. You're based in Houston, Texas.
Mhm.
Yes.
And what is it that you do there in Houston, Texas?
So with IV hydration, I know that it's becoming a super big thing now. A lot of celebrities are doing it, but basically it's for rehydration for those who are multifaceted professionals and individuals who need immune support, help with your skin, your hair, or even just overall your mental. IV hydration definitely is so beneficial. For myself, I started IV hydration when I had COVID 3 times. I was like, I keep getting sick. Something has to give. And I tried it out and I have not been sick. My immune system has been at its peak and I absolutely love it. So, with my business, I do concierge services. So, I go to your home and I provide services for you. I also have a vitamin shot bar for B12 and a lot of other vitamins that you can get if you do not want an IV. So, these are the services I offer at the moment.
So the IV
Oh,
hydration includes supplementation?
It includes the vitamins. Yes, you can have with vitamins, or if you just want fluids, you can have that as an option as well.
How long does it normally take? Now you've got me curious.
yeah.
Yes. So it takes about 30 to 45 minutes. Yes,
Okay, just for
Beautiful.
the IV part or like all told?
in total. It does not
Okay,
take very long. Um, it's very similar to having an IV in the hospital. Only thing is the supplementation with just the vitamins.
gotcha. I remember I had I don't remember which surgery it was. I just remember asking for a banana bag
Oh, yeah.
and at post-op. And she
Mhm.
kind of, it was a GYN, so it must have been some kind of gynecological procedure. She kind of looked at me and she goes, "They're going to think you're an alcoholic." And oh, for those who don't know, banana bags, vitamin C.
Mhm.
Okay.
Um,
Sounds
and it helps with healing. It helps with recovery. And so I was like, well, I don't care, but I will never do that again because I kind of got ignored by the nursing staff. Anytime I hit my call button, sad to say, they didn't respond uh, because there was a prejudice there.
Mhm.
Even though I had no alcoholism was not a, what do you call it? A diagnosis on my chart.
Yeah.
They see this order for a, vitamin C, IV vitamin C, and they automatically think, they think
That's
something.
not the only thing it helps, is it? That's not the only thing it helps.
Well,
For
no, but it's a standard protocol for someone who has alcoholism in their medical history to
All right.
receive post-op because it helps with recovery. Whereas the
Okay.
normal person, because they're actually vitamin C deficient because of the
Mhm.
levels of alcohol they're ingesting.
Okay. See, I
Yeah.
understand.
Learn something new every day. Why, you did not know today on Fempreneur True Confessions, you were going to learn about this medical thing. But I can totally see the benefits of doing IV therapy for sure, and IV hydration. And we certainly wish you the best.
Yes.
We will drop all of Christine's contact information, website, socials, and all of that stuff in the show notes.
Yes.
And we so appreciate you being here with us today, Christine,
Happy.
and sharing your story, because your story is important, because other women need to know that they're not out there alone feeling the same thing. And that, if you feel that, if you're feeling that way, if you're feeling alone, reach out to us, reach out to Christine,
Yeah.
especially if you're in the Houston area. And not just for IV
No one can
hydration.
talk today.
Reach out, right? Reach out because you feel like you're struggling and you need help. Because one of the stories that Christine shared was when, was it when you first started out? Let me go back and look. There was a woman in the same industry as you that you had met before. You were
Yes.
really impressed with her journey. And so instead of just like being all jealous and, of everything of her successes, um, you bought her book
Mhm.
and you shared her, you learned from her, right? You bought her book and learned from her and and supported her on social media. So Christine is willing to do that for other women. I'm thinking
Yeah.
because someone did it for her.
Of course. Mhm.
So I think that's something we don't often say on the podcast. But if a guest ever resonates with you,
Mhm.
reach out to them. That is why we do this, and we
Absolutely.
are aligned in this mindset. Correct? That we're here to help each other and collaborate.
Yes. Absolutely.
Amen. Amen.
Absolutely.
Okay, we at church now. We at the church
Come
of
on now.
FTC. Okay.
Say hallelujah.
Well, again, thank you so much, Christine. It's been a pleasure meeting you, getting to know you, and I loved hearing your story.
Yes.
And we will see you guys. Oh, sponsorships, we still have those going.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time this airs, more than likely we'll also have a membership going. So be sure to check out ftcpodcast.com. If you're interested in supporting the podcast with a sponsorship, becoming a guest, or joining the membership. Okay.
Absolutely. We love
Thank
to
you,
see
Christine. You have a wonderful, wonderful
You as
weekend.
well.
weekend.
You as
Yeah.
you
First,
as-
yeah. It's the
All right.
weekend while we're doing this, so
Yeah, it's
enjoy.
Friday. And we will see you guys Monday for the
Yeah.
live broadcast at 12 Eastern. Have a great week.
Bye, everyone.